Hi students, this is Mr. Laska here. Today we're going to learn how to use the drill press. So first off, what is a drill press? What is it used for? Well, it's pretty much used for drilling holes. The advantage of using a drill press over just like a handheld drill, this is going to make perfectly true 90-degree holes. So your hole is going to be a lot better if you drill it on this than if you were to drill it with a hand drill. It's also, if you use it properly, it's actually a lot safer and it's a lot more powerful. So this is a drill press, and now we're going to learn how to safely use it. So the PPE that you need to wear when you're using this machine is safety glasses, and then obviously proper lab attire, pants, closed-toed shoes. If you have a loose baggy shirt, you should definitely roll up your sleeves. Long hair, make sure it's tied back, stuff like that. So we're going to go through some of the basic parts of this machine. This is what's called the spindle. It spins. Well, actually the spindle's right here. It spins, and what's connected to the spindle is called the drill chuck. That holds your drill bit. There's a couple different types of drill chucks. This one is called a Jacobs chuck. It's a 3-jawed chuck. So there's 3 little pieces of metal that clamp onto your drill bit. So first off, I'm going to insert my drill bit into this chuck here. So how you do that, you spin this and you line it up with the teeth or the jaws of the chuck. Spin it by hand. Make sure it's nice and true. That looks nice and true. And what I mean by that, it doesn't look like it's like wobbling. I'll see if I can get it to wobble here. So what I don't want to see, oh, I don't even know if I can do it, but pretty much when the drill bit moves around in a big wobble and it doesn't look straight. So we insert the drill bit by hand. Then we're going to use a chuck key. I actually lassoed one of these to the machine so it doesn't get lost. And you want to tighten it righty-tighty in 2 of the holes. It's really crucial that whenever you're done using the chuck key, you always remove it immediately. If you were to start this up with the chuck key in it, it would go flying. In this case, it's lassoed to the machine. That would be another case scenario. It would be pretty dangerous. So you always remove the chuck key right away. And I have some magnets here on the side of this machine. Next up, we're gonna place our material in the vise. So here's my material. I already center punched it, made a dimple in there for the drill bit to locate itself. I'm gonna place my material in the jaws of the vise, making sure it's nice and flat. And where I'm drilling, if you wanna just pan over here for a second, I always wanna try to drill between the ways of the vise where this moving jaw actually slides on. As you can see, in the past, a lot of students drilled into the ways of the vise or the guides of the vise, and that's no bueno. We want to try to make the drill bit land between those 2 parts. So I'm going to go like that, lock this in, that's nice and tight. Now what I'm going to do is, I got quite a bit of space here to move down. I'm actually going to raise the table. So I got this handle here. What you might need to do first is unlock the table of the drill press or the bed of the drill press, and that will actually allow you to pivot it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this up. So this is slowly cranking the table closer to my workpiece. I'm going to get fairly close. Move it to here, and I'm going to adjust my vise. So right now, my vise does have a bolt on it. Eventually, when I get it where I need it, I'm going to tighten this nut on this bolt, and then the vise is going to be fastened to the table, and it shouldn't move anywhere. So what I'm going to do, get the tip of the drill bit right in that center punch, and I'm going to take this wrench here and tighten this bolt, or this nut onto this bolt. So, whoops. So I just moved the table a bit because I forgot to lock it first. So now I got to relocate this. I shouldn't have to retighten the nut. Lock the table so it doesn't pivot from side to side. Lock it nice and tight. I recommend flipping the handle around so you don't crack your leg or knee on it. And then we're pretty much ready to operate this drill press. So some of the safety concerns. This is going to be spinning at a high speed. We always want to keep our body and clothing and hair far away from this moving spindle and drill bit. If this were to ever catch and not stop, we never want to try to stop it with our hand. We never want to try to stop it with another piece of metal or a tool. That is also dangerous. The best practice to do if this catches the metal and spins around is you hit the E-stop button. If you cannot reach the E-stop button, if it's too dangerous, we will just kill the lab power, and then hopefully that will deal with the situation. So that is why we always want to make sure our workpiece is clamped down. That is definitely a safety rule. Make sure your workpiece is in a vise and it's clamped down. You never just hold a piece of metal here by hand and drill into it. That is very dangerous. What else? If we're drilling long metal, like this piece of aluminum square tubing, let's say it's clamped in my vise, it's dangling out free here, that's pretty dangerous. I want to make sure I use a roller stand. But the most safe practice is right here. This is what's called the column of the drill press. If you're drilling long stock, this drill bit is spinning clockwise, right? So to prevent this long stock from getting spun around, I would have to move my vise, which I'm not going to do because it's set up for this metal. But I would put my workpiece in the vise, and whatever is hanging off the vise, I would put to the left side of the column, right up against it. So if this were to ever catch, it would actually just go right into the column, and it would, in theory, just go nowhere. It would go right into the column. So that's how you safely drill long stock, and you definitely want to use a roller stand. Yep, so like a stand, just like this. So that's how we drill long stock. Other things to be aware of, whenever you're drilling a hole, it can make the metal hot, so you got to be cautious about that. It also can make sharp edges around the hole. It is recommended to afterwards, after you're done drilling, use a deburring tool and get rid of those sharp edges. Another safety concern is metal shavings. When we're drilling, it's going to make a lot of metal shavings, and those are really dangerous if you wipe them by hand. You definitely want to use a hand brush, just like this, to wipe away those shavings. Or better yet, to just get them out of there right away, we can use a vacuum and suck them up. If you wipe metal shavings with your hand, you are going to get metal slivers, and it's going to hurt really badly. So we always remove metal shavings with a brush or a vacuum. Okay? Lastly, another safety rule. I'm sure I'll think of some more as we go, but speaking of metal shavings, we never ever want to blast them away with compressed air. Yes, that would get them out of there and we wouldn't be touching them, but then it's going to make those metal shavings airborne, and then they're likely to get into your eyeballs, and that's probably a lot worse than having them stuck in your hand. So never use compressed air to remove metal shavings. So now that we talked pretty much all about the safety of this machine, we're going to start it up and show you how to use it. So I'm going to have to twist out this stop button. Typically you'll have to do that when you start it up. And I'm going to hit this green button. So this is the most fancy drill press in our lab. If you know how to operate this one, you should easily be able to operate the other ones. This drill press does have a light. I'll turn it on. We have a couple adjustments here, but the cool part about this drill press is it has a guard. So the drill press is actually never going to run the drill bit's never going to spin unless this guard is closed. And as soon as we open this guard, it's actually going to stop the drill press. So it's a very nice drill press, and there's a lot of different features to it. So for drilling purposes, we want to make sure this knob right here is turned to the drill bit. This other one is actually for power tapping, which is a subject for another day. But if you're just drilling a hole with a drill bit, make sure this knob is turned to right there, to the drill bit. This is the automatic oiling feature. We don't typically use that in here, so we're just gonna keep that to off, okay? So, to the side of our drill press right here, I have a drilling speed chart. This is also a topic for another day, but I know what I'm using is a 3/8 diameter twist drill bit. So I am drilling through steel. I'm gonna wanna use 1000 RPM. So that's my speed. Whenever we're drilling steel, we always wanna use cutting fluid. So just throw a little dab on there. No need to get carried away. Actually, that was a little too much, but I guess a little more than not enough. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna hit start. Notice this is going really slow. Also, we never want to start the machine while a tool is already engaged to the metal. We always want to start it when the drill bit is above the metal. I'm going to turn this knob here up to 1000. It doesn't need to be precisely 1000. Has a digital readout right here. I'm at 999 RPMs. As you go quicker, it's going to sound more intimidating. The rule of thumb typically is the smaller the drill bit, the higher RPM you can run it. But we got to follow that chart, and we got to go back down to 1000. So 995, that is close enough here. Everything's looking good, and I'm going to take this handle here, and I'm just going to ease into the metal. If it starts squawking at you, you might need to add a little more oil. Or your drill bit might start to be dull. And there we go. So if your drill bit's making chips, if it's squawking at you a little bit, that means it's starting to get a little dull. But if it's making chips, you're still doing good. The drill bit's cutting. But if the drill bit is making no chips, and it's just getting really hot, that means either your drill bit's probably wobbling too much, like this one is wobbling a little more than I'd like, or your drill bit's getting dull. How you turn this off, you can open the guard, and it will turn off. Or, let's say you need to stop it in case of emergency, you can hit that button, it will completely stop the machine. Or, lastly, if you're just trying to turn it off, but not completely turn off the machine, you're just trying to stop it, you can hit that button. So that is how you operate the drill press.